You're listening to LunaKage and Mr. You Suck's Unnamed Wrestling Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of LunaKage and Mr. You Suck's Unnamed Wrestling Podcast. Sorry, I needed to cough during all of that.
I'm LunaKage.
I'm the coughing man, Mr. You Suck. I could have easily redone that, but I used to be live on air DJ, so where I come from, there was no redoing things.
I mean, I'm kind of with you there, honestly.
Exactly. Anyways, hey, what's up? It's the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And Smackdown has its roadblock. Oops, I mean, we already had that go by. Smackdown has its Elimination Chamber in the way. Yeah. So, Elimination Chamber 2017, Smackdown Live exclusive pay-per-view, hosted out of fucking somewhere, I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
No, me neither. I actually, for the most part,
was good though.
Huh?
Crowd was good though.
Oh, crowd was great. I should figure out where this was because the crowd was kind of down for whatever tonight. Yeah. At least they thought they were down for more things than I thought they would be. Yeah. Let's roll over a quick couple notes from the kickoff. For starters, the kickoff panel includes Carmella, and she's not paying attention the entire time. She's on her phone and not caring, and I think that's actually really good booking. Yeah. It was really, really smart.
Yeah. That's clearly what they were going for. It was intentional.
It was a really good use of her character. Yeah.
I mean, the big question mark though is in kayfabe, why would she be on there?
Exactly. At all? It was Carmella as the only woman in the whole division that doesn't have a match tonight.
Do you feel like you're being shafted?
Yeah. So during his entrance, JBL was doing some wacky-ass little stutter step dance.
As one does.
And he just completely bites it. Yeah. And, the cameraman has to, catch him. And I'm like, so, JBL's toasted. He's drunk. We can affirm this now. And we only had one kickoff match tonight.
Yeah, they had a lot to say about today.
Yeah, we only had one kickoff match, and it was really bad. It was Kurt Hawkins versus Mojo Rawley. And I have no notes because who cares?
Literally, who cares? Yeah, I like when I can read your notes
verbatim, if even.
I feel like I'm important when I can look over and let me read your section. Let me read your notes for this section. I want to feel like I'm doing my job. Kurt Hawkins versus Mojo Rawley. Literally, who cares?
I even went so far as to bolden Kurt Hawkins versus Mojo Rawley so that the man
didn't have to.
The man reading would be able to discern that was the match name, followed by a description of, and I quote, literally, who cares?
Yeah, we've already spent more time on that match than it deserved.
Oh God, yeah. Anyways, Elimination Chamber 2017 proper. Your curtain jerker for this evening is our girl, Becky Lynch versus the mysterious, unaging Mickie James.
God, I love Mickie. I don't know how well she's aged as far as, able to put on a match, because can't say I was paying a whole lot of attention to this match.
This match was a little bit of a snoozer, I'm not gonna lie.
Because it wasn't necessarily because of the match, no. But, it was the first time that's all three of us were back together watching again. Mm-hmm. So most of the time during this match, I was just kind of, talking shit with you guys.
Yeah, jaw-jammering with the friends. Because context, Brian was here as well. It's the first time all three of us have watched a pay-per-view together in a while.
Long time, in a while. Because Brian showed up for the last 2 or 3,
and the ones I missed,
and the ones you missed, and then Brian missed the ones you showed up to.
Yeah, so. We've been playing some tag.
Yeah, but I'd look over every once in a while, and no matter who it was on screen, I would see a beautiful woman. So I was totally down with this match. On that alone.
Yeah, the match was a little bit slow, but that's because it was mainly mat wrestling. Yeah. Wasn't really a whole lot of lifting slams or anything like that. But the build worked for the most part because even right before we got to the finish, Becky was getting pops for reversal back of body drops.
Yeah.
So I think as we continue on in the grand scale of matches, there really wasn't anything special about this. But they do a reversal of pins bit, and Becky gets a jackknife pin for the win. So, knowing that, you can probably tell that they didn't put the most amount of effort in this match because they gotta have something a little bit further down the line.
Yeah.
So, all in all, it is what it is.
It was like a filler match, but I do like that they put enough stock into these two to like give them the opener.
Yeah.
Because like openers, like regardless, are usually going to be some kind of important, you know, in one way or another.
You have to care about it to some degree.
Like, you know, in cross promotional cards when they'd have the 2 world titles.
Yes.
A lot of times the lesser belt would open the show. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, on one hand it is kind of detrimental to the belt, but on the other hand it does kind of show you what level of importance they put into the opening match as well.
Next up we have probably the one match that had the wackiest initial booking, but they still kind of played it okay in the end. Dolph Ziggler versus Apollo Crews and Kalisto on a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah, which is just question mark.
It's very question mark, because if you're going to do a 2-on-1 handicap match, you want the babyface to be the one taking on 2 heels. Because, so let's look at it this way. Either your 2 babyfaces just bury the heel, or your heel makes your 2 babyfaces look like a bunch of fucking goobers.
Yeah.
And so there's really no good booking out of that alone, but they did the right thing where, as Kalisto's coming down to the ramp, you know, Ziggler blindsides him, throws him into the LED wall, and he's out of the match for at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Ziggler is working over Apollo's neck for whatever reason, until a rising Kalisto distracts him. Kalisto's selling his back like a son of a bitch, but the second he walks into the ring, he's magically cured of all ailments.
I like to call that the lucha healing factor.
Yeah. He immediately quits selling, hits some signature moves, gets a hidden tag to Apollo, who hits the spinning sit-out powerbomb and wins. And that's all fine and dandy, I guess, whatever. But post-match, Ziggler goes berserk, does the whole put Apollo Crews' ankle in a chair spot and breaks it, you know, the kayfabe breaking of the ankle spot. So we'll probably see him in a cast.
Yeah.
Selling. Yeah. Oh, no, I think it was the same leg each time.
You think so?
Yeah, because I was looking at him like, is he hitting both ankles? But it looked like he was hitting the same one. We'll see how many casts he has on SmackDown.
But that's shows up.
Yeah, so he'll be out selling for a minute, or just be in crutches for a minute selling. So that's about that. Kind of a wacky way to book a match, but they did good getting around it.
I don't know what they're doing with Ziggler.
I really don't know what they're doing with Ziggler.
I really feel like that's they just traded. You know, like they were like, all right, we want to move Corbin up to the main event level, so we need to trade him for someone who's technically in the main event level right now. Mm-hmm. So let's put Ziggler down there. Fuck, we need a heel. Turn Ziggler. You know, I feel like that's just what is going on.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ziggler's heel turn is justified, considering he was a babyface that lost 1 million matches. And he's just got angry over that.
I mean, it's not about the heel turn itself. It's just like they turn him heel and then they do nothing with him still.
Oh yeah. This is going absolutely nowhere. I don't feel like in the end of this that either Kalisto, Ziggler, or Crews will have a meaningful win.
Yeah.
They're going to be geeks for the latter match at Mania.
Because even the win that the babyfaces got here, it wasn't meaningful.
No.
You know, like it was dumb.
Sorry. Big yawn. I'm out past my bedtime. Your boy's got work in the morning.
Oh, geez.
Alright, so this is the first I've seen of this. Heath Slater and Rhino versus Breezango versus Vaudevillains versus Usos versus American Alpha versus Ascension in a tag team turmoil match.
For the championships.
Yes, so I've never seen a tag team turmoil match. It's an elimination style match where after each elimination, a team comes down to the ring.
We actually had one of these post brand split, like before this,
on a pay-per-view.
I don't think actually it might not have been on a pay-per-view.
I might have missed it then.
I mean, the only time I ever watch shows are when you're with me, so I can't remember. I think it was on SmackDown. Honestly,
yeah, I don't recall.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, because it was when. It was when Heath and Rhino were defending the titles, and they won it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That might be right, yeah. Shit, I can't remember. I have terrible memory.
I mean, in fairness, it's the tag team titles.
Yeah.
You know, not exactly as memorable on SmackDown as... Yeah. Or even on Raw, honestly.
Yeah. Especially at that time where it was just like, okay, is New Day's number big enough yet?
Yeah.
Anyways, starting off, it's the white-clad fashion popo, a.k.a. Breezango. It's great because their butts say fashion popo. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? That won't get over, but it's very funny. They are dumped after Rhino gores them. The vaudevillains rush in, and Heath goes on a fucking highlight reel for a second here. Heath gets a highlight top rope splash, which was like mad air. Yeah. And then back inside, Heath gets like a highlight lifted DDT.
And it was probably the best lifting DDT I've seen. Like, cause
you don't like lifting DDTs.
I give lifting DDTs a lot of shit, but that one looked amazing.
That looked really fucking good. Yeah. So they get the pin on the VODs. They're out of there. Usos come in. They have a really good battle with Heath and Rhino, but I think this is maybe Heath's best part in this match. Heath is selling like he's just gassed. I mean, he could legitimately be gassed, but yeah. He's just selling like...
I mean, it's tiring taking care of all them kids.
Yeah, he's a full-time adult and full-time wrestler. Yeah. He's got to take care of Beulah. But no, he legitimately starts selling as though he's just fucking tired and he's all out of energy from the past two matches. So the Usos are able to get an isolated pin to remove Beauty and the Man Beast. Next up, your champs, American Alpha, come in, and they get the pin on the Usos, which leaves the Ascension left. Well, the Ascension... I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting there. Now, the Ascension are in the back eating snacks.
Yeah.
Because post-elimination, the Usos go on, like, I shit you not, somewhere between a 3 to 5 minute, like, beat down.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
It was pretty sustained.
Like, the Usos didn't get their shit in during the match, so they decided to do it in the beatdown.
Yeah, they definitely spent a long time beating down. And then Mortal Kombat 2 Ascension come out with new and revamped Genesis graphics. They're like, we ain't no bitches, we play the Genesis version.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo's got no blood. The Ascension come down and they're going to pick up the scraps, but the Alphas have a heated, battered babyface comeback, never say die attitude, somehow able to steal the win with grand amplitude. Actually,
great amplitude.
So like grand amplitude looks kind of cool, but this one, when they showed it in slow motion, you really see that like Gable leapt into air and then just let like gravity motion take over, and it was really wild.
It's really great.
I know Brian was looking for the Ascension to win, and I can see why that booking would be there. But I actually really liked this booking because we need to like re-legitimize the tag division. It's kind of been a fumbly-bumbly mess.
Yeah. And establishing like a dominant babyface tag team.
Yeah,
because it's a pretty good idea.
Jason and Gable are really good. If anyone's ever seen NXT.
And they're already over.
Yeah, you know? The thing is, they could be way more over, but they got like super cooled down by not really having anything done with them for a long while.
This is like, you would think this is the first step in correcting that mistake.
Yes, this is definitely the first step in correcting that mistake, and they came out of this looking great.
Yeah.
So match was a lot of fun, honestly. Your second women's singles match of the night.
Yeah.
Watch how high this number gets by the end of the pay-per-view. Natty versus Nikki. This feud, I think, is kind of awkward to watch. I think it's a lot of really wacky storytelling, but whatever. The crowd is way more hot for this than I thought they would be.
Yeah, I feel like
I feel like I said that last time we had a pay-per-view match between these two as well.
I feel like the whole thing, like, I don't think JBL was drunk. I think he's high because they pumped something into the arena.
Yeah, no, the crowd was really down for whatever.
Yeah.
Natty spends a lot of time grandstanding to the audience. Getting heel to heat. The match is alright. There's a bit of a story where Natty's trying to work the leg for a sharpshooter, but it fizzles out really fast. Like, it was definitely like a come and go type of thing. Nikki has a variation of the STF that straight up blows Cena's out of the water.
It does.
Instead of hooking the face, and like leg locking the toe, she instead has kind of like a Brian Kendrick, like captain's hook grip on the head, and then a similar grip on the leg.
Yeah, while still hooking it with her leg like she would with the STF.
Yeah,
too.
it's really, really brutal looking.
Like I love it when other superstars do an STF now, because I love seeing them do it like better than Cena. Because like Randy Orton, it's funny when he does it, he hooks the head like the same way Nikki did it. So it's funny because he's like the master of the headlock. So he's literally got him in a regular headlock from the STF, like, you know, and still got the leg hooked for that. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, Cena could definitely use some teachings from his girlfriends.
You know, Stone Cold actually gave John Cena shit for his STF.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Good.
John Cena was on the podcast, the Stone Cold podcast, once. I think it was only once, and he wasn't like bashing him about it, but he was like, you gotta cinch it in. He's like, could you do me a favor? Could you cinch it in for me?
Yeah. Yeah, John Cena's STF is always really bad. Hate to blow the guy up, but it's always been bad.
Like, no matter how much better he gets in the ring, his STF is just always awful.
Anyways, they brawl to the outside and they get a double count out, which is like, whatever. I guess this is a Mania match or something, but the dirt sheets predict that we're having Cena and Nikki versus Miz and Maurice for Mania, and it leads to Cena proposing.
You know what? I'm gonna like go back to the STF real quick.
Do it up, homie.
I'm going to invent the reason why John Cena's STF looks like that.
Why? Because
it's not a standard. You know, normally an STF, you know, you hook it and you wrench it back. You know, it's supposed to be target the neck and shit. His, if you notice, he does this.
Yeah.
Right. Big ass arms. He's not wrenching back. He's squeezing your head with his big ass arms.
I mean, you're not wrong. He's definitely got forearms for days.
Yeah. So that's going to be my new headcanon for that move.
That's fine. Any sort of headcanon to make that move make sense is fine by me. Anyways, after the match, the double count out, no victory, draw, who gives a fuck? Natty's heading back up the ramp, and Nikki hits a big ol' spear and sends her running. It was an alright match.
For what it is.
Yeah, for what it is, it was a fine enough match. Randy Orton versus Luke Harper.
Yeah, this match...
this match ruled.
This match was really good.
This is a really good match.
Again, not especially entertaining for me at first, but once they started, you know, getting the getting the ball rolling, basically, it started looking really great, especially for Luke.
Yeah, I thought the build to this match was actually pretty good. Like, the opening sequences were not boring for me, but I love seeing Harper as in singles. I feel like his last singles run was really bad because it was.
I mean, he did get a title before Bray did.
Yeah. But I just remember like the Extreme Rules match with him and Dean and like the Chicago Street fight, and I was like, wow, I don't care about this.
He had a Chicago Street fight?
It was a Chicago Street fight with Dean, and that was the one where they hopped in the ambulance and it went off. And I was like, man, are they gonna have like a really cool like shot of them like brawling in the streets?
Oh yeah, dude, I liked that.
I did.
I dug that. Like I thought it was silly, like how the match never concluded. So like they came back in the middle of someone else's match
okay, that part
match?
was cool, but the thing they needed to sell me on was them actually fighting in the streets.
I mean, you know, but
it wouldn't take much. You just needed like a 30-second clip of them in the streets actually fighting, and that match would have been sold, signed, bookended.
I mean, I guess the idea is, you know, would you really get a cameraman out there on the streets of Chicago with two madmen hitting each other?
Hell yeah! The press is gonna be out there, baby.
Especially with the threat of like fucking a random Chicago guy going like, "Those guys are fighting." They just pull out a gun and murder everyone. Yeah, like, you know, Chicago's awful for that.
Be great.
No offense to my Chicago guys, but you should know this.
Yeah, they would.
I highly doubt they're going to argue with me on that.
No. Anyways, I think Harper is probably one of the most talented big men in the roster.
He's very good.
He doesn't look as big as he is, but he also doesn't move as big as he moves like he looks like he's smaller. I don't know, that sentence is hard to phrase out, but
like, I know we're never going to be able to replace The Undertaker, But as for guys that can fill those huge ass shoes when he's eventually completely gone, like your best candidates really are like Luke Harper and fucking Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know,
Braun Strowman's all show right now.
Yeah.
But he's got all the presence and charisma he needs. Harper's a fucking machine in the ring.
Yeah, he really is.
Harper's a goddamn beast.
He's got the potential to be one of those like career legend people.
Yeah.
And it's really too early to say that. But in like a perfect world, I could see him reaching that level.
He's been stuck under Bray's wing way too long.
Yeah.
He's been the jobber to a jobber faction.
Yeah, that's the thing that really hurts them.
Yeah.
Because Undertaker's never been a jobber.
No, Undertaker was a star from go.
And I know it's really not fair to compare people to The Undertaker, because like I said, you're never going to be able to have another one, you know, except for when Kain was another one.
Somehow out of all the mistakes like WWE makes, somehow they made a second Undertaker and it worked.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't fucking
For
get
as
it.
long as it did.
I just don't fucking get it.
And then they made an original character out of it too. You know, it was great. And that's the thing, like, you're never going to get that again. But we don't necessarily need that. We just need something. We just need big men of that caliber.
Yes.
To keep the ball rolling on that kind of character. And I think Luke Harper especially has a lot of potential for that. With as big as he is and athletic as he is, on top of that, he could be fucking huge.
We only need one match where his shirt gets torn off to like see that dude's like actually jacked.
Yeah, like he's definitely. I think the biggest mistake they could ever make is shaving his beard.
Oh yeah,
because like
they can't do it.
You would instantly kind of lose some mystique behind the character. Like showing off like a baby face, literally.
Yeah.
Luke Harper. Because like his look is really good, just being a backwoods fucking, you know, brute looking guy. And if anything, you could really play off Resident Evil 7's popularity with Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt nowadays.
Oh my god.
Because I mean, look at him.
Luke Harper DLC.
Yeah, dude, that'd be sweet.
I haven't even played Resi 7 yet. Which is strange. I don't hear very many people talking about Resi 7.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe it's just because I watch YouTube a little too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is kind of like the new fucking craze right now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's been super, super popular.
I think so many people are missing out on it because they know that they would need VR to have the full experience.
No, not even that. Like, I mean, like VR with it is still good, but it operates as like a regular good game.
Okay.
You know? Because I haven't played it myself. I mean, obviously I played the demo, but I watched it on YouTube because that's what Capcom wanted me to do.
Yep.
Because they made this for the Let's Players.
Honestly,
I know they did. You can't tell me otherwise.
No, they 100,000,000% did.
But with all the differences to the presentation, bringing back like, you know, general creepiness and scariness, removing a little bit of the camp that kind of helped make the franchise, but like removing the ridiculous action from the last 2 to debatably 3 Resident Evil titles.
We can say 2 in this household.
I mean, like I'm a 4 detractor. I love the game, but I'm one of those guys that felt like that was when the series died.
I love the game. I hate what it did for the series.
Yes.
It wasn't the game's fault though.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4
It's
did nothing wrong. Capcom looked at 4 and took the wrong things from it.
Yes. So, the thing is, Resident Evil 7, as you play it, it still feels like a Resident Evil game. Okay. And not like necessarily an old Resident Evil game or a new Resident Evil game. It just kept all of the Resident Evil staples as far as like combat, you know, boss presentation, shit like that. Like, that's all still there. It's just a first-person perspective in a different setting.
Okay.
You know, they dialed back the camp a little bit. They dialed back the fucking jumping from helicopters action scenes.
Yep.
But it's still Resident Evil. It's not my favorite Resident Evil because, like, I will always be... Resident Evil to me was always, like, you know, zombies. That was the series that did zombies the way I wanted zombies to be done.
It was Zambos.
So when they got rid of them, it was like, fuck. Which is why I was one of the guys that kind of liked Resident Evil 6. Like, you know, 1/10 of it.
Yeah.
Because they brought back some zombies a little bit. And Resident Evil zombies are my favorite. Fucking Dead Rising, cool, whatever. And like zombies are ridiculously fucking, what's the word, passe nowadays.
Oh, yes. Heavily passe.
And I get it, but Resident Evil always did it right to me. And that's like one of the things that always disappointed me a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I believe that if they keep it going like this, instead of taking the wrong things from it, because again, Resident Evil 4, great game, but they took that and they said, we know what people want, and then gave us Resident Evil 5.
Which was not what people wanted.
And then Resident Evil 6, progressively more action, you know? Now, this could easily be the revival of the series or the fucking death knell for the series. Because now it's full first person. So if they're like, people love first person, holy shit.
Bring back Dead Aim and Survivor.
No. Like fucking, because it's first person. Like people were already calling it like Resident Evil of Duty, you know, to make fun of it and shit. Now it would just be like completing the fucking process because it's full blown first person. And they're like, more action, you know, like.
Exactly.
So they could easily just destroy the series for what it is. But getting back to my original point, it kept its Resident Evil identity.
Okay, that's good.
It's not as exaggerated as I was calling it at first. Mm-hmm. I was calling it Resident Evil the 8 pages, you know, because that's what it felt like to me. Like a Let's Player cash in, like on the first person indie horror genre.
Yeah.
And it takes obvious inspiration from that. But it still has not lost its identity as a Resident Evil title.
That's good. I'm glad.
And that's what I appreciate about it.
Yeah, I'll have to pick it up pretty soon. I got fucking a million games. Anyways, wrestling.
Yeah, we should get back to that. Like that was kind of a little game review.
Hey, welcome to our gaming podcast. Mr. Usuck and LunaKage.
Which is funny because if you ask Richard, you should never ask my opinions on games. Because me and him tend to have completely opposite opinions.
Richard has some opinions on games.
Yes,
Richard's a very opinionated man.
Yeah. I mean, we all are.
We all are.
Extent. We're doing a wrestling podcast based entirely on opinions.
Yep. Talk to me about Skies of Arcadia sometime. Anyways, Luke Harper has some of the best moves for a big man, including in this match you will see a massive leg lariats, one of the best big boots in the business, and a tope that puts most people to fucking shame.
Yeah.
People legitimately a foot smaller than him to shame. This match feels like a showcase match for Harper. He's getting a big main event talent match. He sells really well.
Yeah.
A lot of like Harper's selling is that he looks like dazed anytime he gets hit with something, and he does it really, really well. Just his facial expressions.
And it kind of helps because since he's got such a huge beard going, it's kind of hard to use his facial expressions the way other people would.
It's the way he moves his eyes.
Yeah.
When he sells.
He's putting them eyes to good work because you can clearly see the eyes.
It's really, really smart stuff. Anyways, the big spot of the match is this fucking ungodly top rope superplex Orton does on Harper.
Yeah.
It's fucking massive. It looks like it hurts on the way down. And like, you see a lot of superplexes these days. They're kind of in the same level of like as the tope suicide dive, where you're like, I'm seeing them a little too often. They lose their luster.
And it's usually because they're on the second rope. It's the safest way to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, like you can use that top rope to balance by using your knees to, you know, pressing against it to kind of steady yourself. But when you go to that tippy top rope, like everything's out the window.
Yeah.
Like, you're two people on a top rope with nothing to balance on. So it's got to be fucking clean in order to make it work. So most people don't do it. Mm-hmm. Whenever you see one, it's normally that much better.
And this one was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
Harper looks like he died coming down.
Yeah.
He sells like a goddamn beast. Orton hits the draping DDT, but before he can get the RKO, Harper hits two super kicks that put people to fucking shame.
Yeah.
This is like the cruiserweights are crying in the corner. These super kicks are so clean.
In fairness, he's got to reach a lot lower than the cruiserweights got to in order to connect a super kick. Because he's got like an extra foot on those guys. So, you know, his legs, he doesn't got to put them up as high.
Yeah. And Randy wasn't checking out at the factory today. He sold for the super kick really well. Yeah. He was selling like a beast for this one. This really was just like, let's build Harper.
Yeah.
They did a great job. Harper hits a sit-up powerbomb. They get into a big yes-no spot before Randy reverses the discus clothesline into an RKO.
He parries it, literally.
He literally parries it, sends him spinning. Harper sells the RKO like a fucking beast. Yeah. He's just like, he bounces, his legs go fucking splaying. Randy wins, but this was a great match for Harper. This was definitely a match to make Harper look very good.
Yeah, this is one of those matches that really showcases the idea of making someone look good in defeat. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you could definitely say that about the Styles versus Cena match they had at the Rumble too. Except I was just so salty about Cena winning that it was hard to.
I know, friends.
But yeah, it's just one of those examples of like, especially because Harper is such a low level guy, really.
Oh, he's a jobber in a jobber squad.
Yeah. Looking that good against Randy Orton, a guy who's, top level contender, the Royal Rumble winner, it's a good look. And, I'm not only am I hoping they do more with him, like soon, I'm also wondering now what they're doing with him.
Yeah.
Because now that, we know what Randy's match is at WrestleMania, what's Harper going to do? Is he going to be involved in this angle? Or is he just going to fuck off and do his own shit? Is he going to be in the ladder match?
Probably.
He's probably going to be in the ladder match.
Probably going to be in the ladder match.
He could win it.
That
might be nice.
I'd love to see him win it.
Seeing another Intercontinental title on that dude.
Yep, I'd be down for it. All right, next up we have the women's, the SmackDown women's belts.
For our third women's match tonight.
3 singles women's matches.
That's pretty fucking intense. How many men's matches did we have tonight? Like, not counting the pre-show. Why would you count the pre-show?
I mean, we had the tag, we had the handicap, and we had the one singles match.
Wow, so other than the chamber, we got an even number of men to women's matches. That's true equality, my friend. That's true equality, my friend. The fucking chamber still counts. It's racist.
The women's matches have been increasing in quality, let's put it that way, throughout the night. And also, none of those women's matches were on the pre-show. That was the other big thing.
That's super surprising.
Yeah, it's 3 main card women's matches. Yeah. No gimmicks. Singles.
Yep. And it's really cool too, because like I feel like even though it made me feel the women's division might feel less important on SmackDown, I still believe it's definitely better. Each person is better represented.
Yes.
Because on Raw, what do you got?
It's important, but it's the Sasha Charlotte show, and
yeah,
who cares right now?
Sasha, Charlotte. Bailey's now here. Yeah. Oh yeah, Nia's undefeated. And that's it. That's what you got, right?
It's not a division. It's a friendship.
Yeah, it's a breakfast club.
Exactly. It's like Dana Brooke fucked off and no one even cares.
Yeah, that's kind of weird too. Because she was finally starting to grow on me in terms of attractiveness.
The dirt sheet said that she was going to get pushed, and I'm like, but why
and how?
Yeah, and how?
Like, how are you going to push Dana Brooke?
Because they were going to push her as a babyface.
I mean, I guess it depends on how they did that.
Yeah, but I also don't think she should. I think she's better off as a heel.
I mean, it depends.
She spent all NXT as a heel.
I mean, you're right, but it depends on what she's like as a babyface.
Yeah, I guess.
Because, like, sometimes all it takes is to see a fresh take on a character in order to get people behind you. And, like, I don't know, like, Dana Brooke, I was never really behind her in general. I thought that comedy bit that she did with the Bullet Club was pretty cool.
Yeah, Doctor.
Yeah, Doctor. And then she was the nurse. I thought that was all right. And then, like, I don't know what it was, but she started getting a little prettier, I think. Like, she definitely didn't look the same as when she first got called up. Like, I felt like she was, like, rounding out a little more.
Oh, she was literally rounding out.
Yeah. Which is fine. She's thick.
I liked her initially because she was a female bodybuilder. So the idea of, like, Muscles McGee and abs was like, okay, you can sell that.
I just think it's better for what it does to her face.
Fair.
Like, I mean, like, her face, like, kind of looked cryptic to me.
She has a ton of plastic surgery.
Fair enough.
She is a plastic surgery diary.
Jeez. But yeah, like, her face was kind of rounding out a little more, and it got a little cute. Mm-hmm. You know, I was able to dig it.
But back to the SmackDown side of things.
Yeah, the more important.
Actually, the more important.
Yeah.
It's Naomi versus the champion, Alexa Bliss. If you haven't been watching SmackDown or the Rumble, Naomi's actually been pushed pretty nicely in a couple tag matches, getting some really, really good looking hot tags, and the crowd's reacting to it well. And it's the fucking shit. It doesn't take much. Like, Naomi really was kind of cool because she had a cool entrance. And then they gave her a really, really, really nice hot tag at the Rumble. Yeah. And a really, really, really nice hot tag the next night next week on SmackDown. And then you're like, okay, so you're pushing Naomi. All right, cool. We can get behind this. Yeah. It's like you can have all the posturing and all the like he says, she says, and all the commentators doing it, but like until you actually like put your faith in a wrestler to do things that are impactful, because both of those tag matches she got the pin on Alexa. Yeah. And so it's and it wasn't a 50-50 booking. No. Like it was she won at the Rumble, but then Alexa pinned her the next night. Straight up, she's pinning Alexa in these tag matches. Yeah. So she's set up for a match. Well, guess what? She's going to win because she's being booked that way. You don't need to fucking like seesaw around the fucking issue. You just book them to do the thing. And it's so easy because like Naomi has not been the best represented woman. God, no. Period. This is probably her first real big singles match in like 2 years. Yeah. And the first one that mattered, like, probably ever. Yeah. Realistically. And realistically speaking, this is probably her first, like, title shot. Yeah. So it's like Naomi was more or less a joke, but it only took you a month to make her a believable challenger. We could say, granted, there was some build with her original gimmick, but that was just laying the groundwork. Yeah. But yeah, no, like once you decided to take her seriously, it only took a month. Yeah. And that's all it takes. Yeah. To bring a wrestler from obscurity into the main event picture. There's something Jim Cornette said about the Cruiserweight Classic. Probably something about, funny doesn't equal money. I like that phrase. That definitely sounds like something Jim Cornette would say. That is something he said. That definitely sounds like something Jim Cornette would say. It's quite literally something he said. But they were talking about like Cedric Alexander and Kota Ibushi apparently had a really great match. I didn't get to watch all the CWC, but they had a great match, and they were like, "Oh, we hope Cedric Alexander becomes a big star, and once he makes it to the main event." And Cornette's like, "You don't have to wait. You don't have to like sit there and think about how to make him a big star. You just have to give him like 2 big wins and he's a star." Yeah. Like it doesn't take much. And like as much as Jim Cornette is 99% anger and like, like sometimes the 1% things he say like make sense. And this is the perfect example of it. Like, well, the thing is like Jim Cornette, a lot of people dislike what he says, and I understand why, because I don't share all of his opinions for sure. Yeah. But he's definitely stuck to his ways. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely one of those out of touch dudes. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's talking about, like 100% of the time. He's still at its core, he knows wrestling. Mm-hmm. Whether or not like he's into these more popular styles of wrestling nowadays, because he didn't like Lucha Underground, stuff like that. But it's like whatever. Everyone's gonna have their opinions on certain things. Yeah. But he's still smart, and he knows how. Like he's one of those guys that would be really good with a filter. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like you can't give him full control of something. It's like you take his opinion, you're like, okay, I'll think about that, and I'll see what I need to do to it in order to make it the best it is, for now, type deal. But I like listening to Jim Cornette. Oh. Like I used to listen to him a lot. Listening to Jim Cornette is worth the price of admission. Yeah, it is. Like I would love for him to have his own show on the network, but then he'd be fucking censored to hell. Oh, he'd be censored to hell, baby. Jim Cornette goes through the staff lounge and tells people to fuck off in the show. Jim Cornette slaps the shit out of Santino Marella. Yeah. Anyway, so Naomi's match with Alexa Bliss. Naomi's kicks and enziguris look good, and as an added bonus, she didn't do her stupid marching kick spot. Yeah, I don't like that. No, it's really fucking dumb. It looks really bad. A shame because like a lot of her kicks are really, really good, and then she does that one, and I'm like, that's just fucking stupid. Come on. Help me help you. Don't do it. Bliss's Twisted Bliss gets stopped by Naomi getting the knees up, which look like it fucking hurt. Yes. And then Naomi capitalizes on the reversal with the split-legged moonsault, which let me try and set the scene correctly. Alexa's like selling on the ground, and so she kind of rolls while she's selling, and so she rolls on her side a bit as the split-legged moonsault's going off, and as she does that, the split-legged moonsault comes down, and Naomi's shins go straight into Alexa's ribs, and it looks like they easily could have just fucking shattered.
Especially with how dinky
she's
Alexa
5'1".
Bliss is.
She's 5'1", dude.
And that 5'1", probably like 75 pounds.
Yeah.
And considering how literally massive fucking Naomi's lower body is, just in general, like that, that fucking
could have broken some ribs.
It might have.
But she gets the win, and she's the new big babyface women's champion. And to capitalize on that, she gets the mic post-match.
Yeah.
And, we have a big old kiss and cry.
Yeah, she starts
crying, understandably, because she's been an absolute fucking footnote for most of her career.
And it felt really good for me. Like, even as a guy, because I wasn't exactly, I was hit or miss on her.
It's not like we're Naomi marks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was always like, okay, Naomi, all right. She's done her thing. It's time for new people. I was always like that because it's like she had her chance. Nothing happened. It's not her fault.
And no one ever told us to care about her again.
Yeah.
That's why would you care about her when you're constantly being told not to?
But in literally 3 matches, you turn that around.
Yeah.
And you make me, especially with the post-match celebration, when she starts like, kind of, tearing up a little bit, kind of like, choking up. I'm a sucker for that shit.
Exactly.
Just in general.
It's like, it's so fucking wild because like WWE has a hard time making new champions or new characters.
Yeah.
Like they have a hard time building people. They have an extremely hard time building baby faces.
Yeah. Like shit, after the Rumble match between Cena and AJ, if Cena would have like fucking got on the mic and started crying, I probably would have been like, okay. All right.
Yeah. And honestly, they should have because it was like a huge fucking
it was kind of a big deal. It's literally not at this point.
No.
Because it's like, oh, he tied it up. He lost it.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Spoilers. Cena didn't win. The dirt sheets are right.
Always trust dirt sheets, even if they're ridiculous.
Yeah. When it's live from the desk of Dave Meltzer, it's probably right.
Yeah. In worst case scenario, it's wrong, and who cares?
Yeah. So yeah, she gets mic time. The crowd fawns over her. They totally love her.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, will this be like Heath and Rhino where it doesn't last too long? Who knows? But
well, I think Naomi can be taken as a serious competitor.
I think so too. Because
Heath and Rhino were obviously a comedy duo.
Yeah.
But they were a comedy duo that could back up their shit. But they're not necessarily gonna. I mean, I guess you could say the New Day was a comedy trio. I don't know. It really just depends.
I don't know. Biggie was also great in the ring.
The question here is now what?
That's my question. Yeah, that's like, is it Carmella?
I really hope because like the next match is going to be at WrestleMania. You would think. Not necessarily. They might not even have a match at WrestleMania.
It'll probably be some sort of multi-woman match. And she'll build to a feud from there. I don't know.
And that would kind of suck because like that would mean both women's titles at WrestleMania are going to be multi-women matches.
Yeah, I really wouldn't like that. But you could do a multi-women match on SmackDown to try and find a #1 contender.
And if they do, who's it going to be? Because it would have to be a heel.
Yep.
I'm maybe Natty because like if they do the match with Cena that they're supposed to do,
it probably would be Natty then.
Natty doesn't have anything to do.
And I'd like to see Naomi go over Natty.
The rematch with Alexa, maybe.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to see that for Mania.
Maybe Mickey. Because there's quite a few heels, but it's like none of them really make all that much sense.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the heck happens there. Anyways, it's good fucking booking tonight on Smackdown Live Presents Elimination Chamber 2017.
Like leave it to Smackdown Live to like 2 weeks after the most bitter tasting pay-per-view I've had since the brand split.
It was like sour milk versus like Horizon organic milk. And you're like, you have like, it's like milk's gone bad and you accidentally have it and you're like, fuck this, I'm not having milk again. You have like organic Horizon milk and you're like, this is a fucking...
Yeah, it's like...
revitalized, baby. I feel better already.
It just kind of brought me back around a little bit. It made me... It was a fun pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like, in general.
Oh, some of the single matches, like the first couple matches, kind of wore on me.
Yeah.
I don't think they were absolutely exciting, but like the booking was always straight up right.
No.
The only thing I could maybe disagree with would be the Natty and Nikki, but like the booking was correct.
Like of all the problems I had with the booking at the Royal Rumble, like I had zero problems with the booking
today. Oh god, yeah, today was awesome.
Which is amazing because it feels like they legitimately have different bookers on each show. And Raw guy was just doing the Rumble.
They have different creative, but everything still has to be approved by Vince.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just kind of feels like fucking whoever is creative on SmackDown just didn't get a say for what happened at the Rumble.
Yeah, and this is the other point, is that SmackDown's been really, really good about building new stars.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, Raw's also had some issues in the form of injuries. Hi, goodbye, Finn.
Yeah.
Because they definitely were like, here's Finn. He's a fucking star.
And then he's fucking gone.
Yeah, but it was definitely like we say the things about like you only need 2 big wins to be a star. Well, that was Finn.
Yeah.
Balor showed up, had like 2 massive wins, and you're like, okay,
on Raw, so, like the same episode.
So like, okay, so you're like, he's a massive star. Okay,
and it was great because like it was the first night. They were going to decide who was going to be
Universal Champion.
Or no, not champion, but the number 1 contender go up against Seth Rollins going into the first match.
That's right.
And it came down to Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns. Finn beat him straight up clean.
Yep.
And literally a post-match interview before Roman even left the ringside area, like Roman was like, "That guy's good. I want to fight that guy again."
Yeah.
You know, and that's all you got to do.
Yeah, it's
even coming from Roman, like a lot of people think he's a joke, but when he says stuff like that, you feel like it means something.
Yeah. They've been. I mean, Raw has just had issues tragically because of injuries for various people. But like SmackDown, the formula's there. Like they made Alexa. They made Alexa. They built Alexa. Mm-hmm. She's definitely a worthwhile heel.
Yeah. They built Naomi back up.
They built Naomi. They built Heath Slater and Rhino. They built Miz. They built Miz.
They built Miz.
Yeah, they built Miz is main event talent right now. They built Baron Corbin.
Yeah,
they've done. I mean, they're not all zingers. Apollo Crews is still a fucking nobody.
Yeah.
Kalisto died a horrible death,
yes,
but
he did.
You know, sometimes you can't win them all. But for the most part, they're murdering it.
Yeah, which is especially egregious, if I'm even using that word correctly.
You are.
When you look at the fact that the 2 biggest booking issues I had at the Rumble were SmackDown representatives. So it's like, all right, Randy wins the Rumble. Fuck. I thought SmackDown liked pushing new stars. Fucking John Cena beats AJ Styles for his 16th world title, even though they're planning on taking it off of him in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Like, that literally did not need to happen. This Elimination Chamber match would have been just as good if AJ would have came in as a champion. Yep. It wouldn't have had to be any different.
And it's a multi-man match, so you didn't have to have a heel take it off of a heel.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the point. Like, in fact, like, it didn't even, like, I guess we're kind of spoiling it a little bit, but I mean, we're about to review it right now anyway. But John Cena wasn't even in the final 2.
No.
It came down to heel versus heel.
Exactly.
And it would have made just as much sense because AJ was in the final 2. Mm-hmm. If he would have won it as a champion, it would have made sense that the champion ended up being the final 2.
Yep.
Though I guess there is an air of excitement when the champion gets eliminated a little earlier.
That's the cool shit right there.
Yeah, so there is that. But, I mean, sacrificing that so that John Cena wouldn't have had a 2-week title reign just to tie Ric Flair's record and that's it. I don't know. Like
it was sus.
That was like the biggest question mark to come out of SmackDown Live, period, since its inception. And then, like, you turn it over to their first pay-per-view after the Rumble, and it's immediately like, boom, 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 we're doing this shit right. You know, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Vince is still Vince at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get to the fucking Elimination Chamber match, since we've been talking about it.
Which, by the way, granted I haven't seen every single Elimination Chamber match, but I'm sure that I can still say that this is probably the best Elimination Chamber match.
Oh yeah, baby. That
we've ever had.
This was fucking awesome. This one was fucking great. So for starters, we have a new Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chambers of past have been very cylindrical, sphere-like, circular. You get what I'm saying?
Very much dome-shaped.
Yes. But this one is a squared-off rectangle man, which is important in a couple ways. This gives you more room between the pod and the turnbuckle post, which means you can actually move between them, something that allows cameramen in and out easier, able to be capturing action, and also allows for more spots. The space around the pods are expanded upon because they are now their own square pieces instead of semicircles built into the wall. Yeah. This gives the superstars way fucking more room, as the pod is now a 3-sided Lexan containment unit, where the doors are double sliders on the left and right panels. Yeah. And
it's huge.
They fucking massive.
So big. There. Like, if it didn't feel like it was that much bigger, but it was, kind of thing. Like, just that small change they made, and like literally throughout the whole match, I was like geeked out about the new chamber. Like, this whole match, I couldn't get over it because I thought it looked that good.
Yeah, and there's a lot of visual improvements too. The chambers, struts have been heavily expanded. They look like 4x4 steel instead of 2x2 steel.
Yeah.
The pods have underlighting, which makes these superstars look like fucking superheroes.
Yeah. And there was like LEDs all over the place.
Yeah, all the exterior struts had LEDs, blue LEDs. It looked fucking awesome.
It looked really great.
The only thing I would say was that they didn't turn the lights out when it was time to choose the next person to come out. But whatever, yeah. I'll take that one.
The only other thing that it's like kind of an even change, I think, like positive/negative, is that instead of just being the steel grated floor, it's not. Well, it probably still is that underneath it, but they decided to actually put like
mat
outside
pads.
of the ring like pads on it. And I mean, like I was fine with it. I don't necessarily need my pro wrestlers to fucking land on unprotected steel in order for me to have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need people to get hurt for real in order to enjoy myself. So at the end of the day, it wasn't that bad for me. It also allowed them to feel, because I felt they did a lot more on the outside.
That was my big point. You lost the sound of the metal grating, but you got a lot of fucking cool.
Yeah. And I think that also
spots.
had to do with the fact that there was more room as well.
Yes.
So the more room, the added padding, you know, it just, like, I felt like the outsides of the ring were so much more utilized than they'd ever been in an Elimination Chamber match, including a fucking off the top of the pod spot onto the outside, which we will get into once we actually start reviewing it.
Yeah,
We're too busy geeking out about that.
I've got about 2 pages of spots because
we should probably let you get through a few of those.
Yeah, so Elimination Chamber match, as a multi-man match of this stipulation goes, is a spot fest. Let's be honest here.
And this one right out the get-go.
This was a fucking spot fest.
Like, let me tell you, fucking, in pretty much every Elimination Chamber I've ever seen, the first 5 minutes are nothing. Because the first 5 minutes are the build-up. Like, the first 2 guys, they might go through a sequence or 2, but for the most part, it's like punch, kick, headlock, build-up shit. But this one was no.
Power moves to go. Cena and AJ are 2 starting combatants, and they kick it off immediately. Cena hits an unreal snap code red. It was clean as a fucking whistle. And then Cena sells for AJ's tiebreaker by extending himself full vertical when being thrown out of the fireman's carry.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's wild. That you have the control of your body to pull that off. Cena goes for the 5 moves of doom, but as he's posturing for the 5-knuckle shuffle, the 10-second countdown starts, and he realizes that he took too much time, and so he looks to the pods, and he looks to AJ, and he readies himself for the next combatant, which I thought was fucking awesome booking.
Yeah. Like, it's definitely, it's showing off the fact that John Cena is a veteran, and he does know he's not an idiot, he shouldn't just go with a move. He should, get ready for what he's got to deal with next.
Yeah, also, I think it felt like John Cena was getting to John Cena's head, because he should have just done the 5-knuckle shuffle and moved on.
Yeah.
But he's, posturing for it, and then realizes he's like, oh, fuck, I don't have any more time for this.
Yeah.
So next up is fucking Dino, who's moving as fast as I've seen him move in a while.
Yeah, he was Dino the Machine.
He was Dino fucking coming out like a bull in a china shop. tosses Cena outside to the mats, hits AJ with an orange crush on the mats. Yeah. That's why you had the mats.
Yeah, a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
A lot more.
If you did that on steel grating, someone would die. Dean, I mean, he did it on a chair, let's be honest, but Dean jumps on top of his old pod and delivers a big-ass elbow drop on Cena, breaking the fall himself.
Yeah, like he still landed on his feet, but he rolled into it. Like, obviously the elbow's still connected, but it's not like John Cena caught him. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, this was a dude jumping off of a pod, landing on the ground, and not breaking his legs.
Yep.
Because this was high up.
It's an 8 foot pod.
8 foot?
It has to be, because you got people in there who are built at like 6 something,
right.
And they've got space. So it's got to be at least 8 feet.
So it's like the size of your shed.
Yeah.
Just jumping off. And it's not, because like, if you think back, you know, to if you would be on top of your shed and you didn't have a ladder, how are you getting down from the shed? Mm-hmm. If you're going to jump off like naked, you're not jumping. You're not leaping.
No.
You're fucking getting on your ass and you're shimmying to the side.
Scooting down.
And then you kind of hop off, and then you still kind of fall down a little bit. But he's like, no, dog, jumping.
Dino leaped.
Yeah.
Back in the ring, Cena hits a 2-man German as the AJ and Dean combination try to German themselves. They get Germaned out of their German.
Yeah.
The series of chaos moves leaves all men on their backs as the countdown hits and Bray comes out. He re-murders a couple people before AJ regains offense. AJ and Cena climb the side of the chain link fence and duel before Cena comes crashing down and hits pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, because there was no steel grating, he took a pretty hard bump coming down, and so he gets to sell for a very long time now. AJ shuffles over and climbs over all fucking Super Mario World style to the top of the pod as Dean meets him there, and they start bouncing each other's heads off the Lexan.
It was great.
That was awesome.
Oh, that's another change too. On top of each pod, the wall is with the Lexan glass.
Yep.
That used to be just chain the whole way. There used to barely be any room between the top of the pod and the top of the cell.
Yes, because it was more chamber. Of a domed.
Yeah.
This was much bigger. They gave him a lot of headroom.
As made evident by the one tag team chamber match they had where Kalisto, or was it Sin Cara, one of the two?
Kalisto.
He like climbed on top from the pod.
Yep.
And that would have been a lot harder to do, if not like impossible to do, in this chamber. Because they had a lot of room up there. Because these are two, like, Dean's not exactly the shortest dude.
No,
he's up there.
Dean's built at 6'4".
Yeah. So
I somehow doubt he's 6'4", because I'm 6'3".
I'm pretty sure he's 6'1".
Yeah.
I think that's his real height, 6'1".
But he's built at 6'4".
So he's up there. And AJ, you know, he's shorter, but he's not short. He's like 5'11". He's my height. So, like, being able to just stand up, like, I don't think anyone was able to stand up, like, completely on the pod, especially not up against the wall of the chamber on the pod. Like, they could probably get a little bit higher up when they were on the edge where it started doming upwards. But, yeah, they're just fucking throwing their head up against the
Lexan. Bonking themselves off the Lexan. It was awesome. Dean, Bray, and AJ have a Tower of Doom spot, which isn't like a traditional one. It's more like a fucking power bomb German Beal combo.
Yeah, it was like a Beal. Bray did a Beal on AJ Styles while Corbin?
No, Dino.
Was it Dean?
Yeah, Corbin wasn't out yet.
Okay. And Dean did a power bomb on Bray.
After that, though, Corbin comes out, and he starts to tussle with Dino. More scuffles lead to Corbin getting the ends of days on both AJ and Cena before Dean missile drop kicks on in. They bounce each other off chains, and Corbin stares down Miz as the countdown hits. This was probably my favorite part of the match. So, Corbin's fucking just staring down Miz. He's the only person left not in the match yet. Countdown hits, Miz's door opens, and he's too scared to come out. So Dean hits Corbin with a roll-up for a surprise pin. Corbin's fucking mad, murders Dean, runs him through the Lexan door of his own pod.
Yeah.
That was fucking great. You know, hits Dean with the end of days. Then, they finally get him out. Miz waits until he's absolutely positively sure that the chamber is closed.
Yep.
And then bolts out of there and gets a Dean on pin.
Yep.
I thought
a pin on Dean.
Yeah.
A Dean on pin.
Dean on pin. He's on Dean for a pin. It's a Dean on pin.
Yeah.
He gets the pin on Dean. I thought that sequence of booking was awesome.
It was good.
Awesome. It's like, okay, well, here you go.
And the fact that Dean took that much of a beating and then took a finisher.
Yep.
It probably would have been better if it wasn't Dean, because his whole thing is he's supposed to be super resilient and everything. But there was a lot of time between the end of days and him getting pinned.
Yeah.
But I still let it slide because I get what they were going for.
Yes.
It wasn't something that I was like, hey, that's fucking, Dean fucking, it wasn't one of those things. Mm-hmm. You can nitpick it, and that's what I did, but it definitely was not bad.
Yes.
It was good.
It was
the opposite of bad.
It was actually the opposite of bad. It was good. Where am I in my notes now? Okay, Miz goes on actually a very big offense with all the dead man lying around doing the Daniel Bryan moveset with his probably purposefully sloppy yes kicks. Before doing a top rope crossbody to Cena, who does a roll-up AA for the elimination, which I thought was nice. Miz is in there and out of there pretty fast.
Yeah.
Cena goes on the offense with a 10-knuckle shuffle and an AA on Bray before AJ gets the Styles Clash. AJ goes for a phenomenal forearm, and Cena hits the AA. AJ kicks out. Cena has a crossbody from the top of the pod onto both Bray and AJ. However, Bray reverses out of an AA and hits Cena with his sister Abigail for the elimination.
John Cena is no longer champion at this point.
No. Bray has eliminated champion, and we are down to the last two. It's AJ and Bray.
And at this point, I cannot lose, and I realize that it is the greatest chamber match in history at this very moment, because no matter who wins, it's still good. So I was all for this.
So we got the last ones. Let's see. AJ gets a baseball slide that Bray sells for. Bray gets a clothesline that AJ sells for. AJ hits a shining wizard. Mm-hmm. Very good looking. Bray kicks out of a springboard 540 splash, so AJ sets up for a phenomenal forearm, but he gets caught and Sister Abigail out of it, and Bray gets the pin and gets the belt.
Brand new WWE champion, Bray fucking Wyatt.
Bray fucking Wyatt.
It's about goddamn time he wins something. Christ. And he had to pin Cena and AJ to do it.
Yep.
That I think is really cool.
That's the wild part. He definitely established himself as kind of a thing.
Yeah. Now we got to look forward to him versus Wyatt for the title.
Him versus Orton.
Yes. I mean, Orton's a Wyatt.
Fair.
For now.
Fair. Now.
So we'll see. Yeah,
I
mean,
we'll probably have a more updated look at what we're expecting for WrestleMania after Fastlane.
Yeah.
Because right now it's like, okay, we know what the main event is, and everything else is kind of a wash. Yeah. A lot of what's come out is like on the Raw side of the dirt sheets.
Right. So it's one of those things. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this because I think everything was done correctly.
I think that tonight was booked really fucking well.
Yeah. I can't complain. If I have any complaints, it's literally things I complained about in our last video, because even though this was good, those complaints at the Rumble still apply.
Yes, they're still applicable.
But at least now we're here and we get to go forward with it, So we got a new WWE champion, a man who fucking deserves it. We got a new women's champion, SmackDown women's champion, a woman who deserves it. Mm-hmm. We got tag team champions, a tag team that deserves it. They're not new, but
but they deserve to look the way they do.
They deserve to look the way they do. The only title that wasn't defended was Intercontinental because Dean was in the chamber match.
Yep. Which is fine.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. once the WrestleMania cards start shaping up a little more.
Yeah, we'll get you with the review when that happens. But for tonight, that's going to be it. Not a whole lot to talk about because there really wasn't much to bitch about. It's a really good pay-per-view.
After that fucking 2-hour Rumble podcast, we got, how much time do we have here?
We are at 1 hour and 4 minutes, and that's fine because your boys got work in the morning.
Yeah. And I got things to see, people to do. Hey, that'd be nice. But
yeah, wouldn't that be nice? All right. From your boys, it's Curtains. Mr. You Suck signing out.
LunaKage.
We out.
Boy.